Welcome to the Unity of Olympia podcast.
In the book of Genesis, Moses has left the city and is now living in the country, married to a rich man's daughter. He's in the wilderness with a bunch of sheep, because that's what he does now. When the angel of God appeared to him in flames of fire blazing out of the middle of a bush. He looked. The bush was blazing away, but it didn't burn up. And Moses said, "What's going on here? I can't believe this. Amazing. Why doesn't the bush burn up?" God saw that he had stopped to look. God called to him from out of the brush. "Moses, Moses." He said, "Yes, I'm right here." God said, "Don't come any closer. Remove your sandals from your feet. You are standing on holy ground." They continue to have this long conversation about God wanting Moses to go back to Egypt and lead his people out of Egypt. But then Moses says to God, "Well, suppose I go to the people of Israel and I tell them, 'The God of your fathers sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' What do I tell them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am. Tell the people of Israel, 'I am sent me to you.'" God continued with Moses, "This is what you're to say to the Israelites. God, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob sent me to you. This has always been my name, and this is how I always will be known. I am who I am. This has always been my name, and this is how I will be known, always will be known." Those two words, "I am," have so much power. And we frequently don't even think about the power that they have. You know, unity is about two basic things. One, it's affirmative prayer, right? Affirming the presence of God right here, right now. Like, for real, right? And the other one is metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. Now that allows us to take the stories that were written by men of a different culture and a different time before science, when stories were actually written to make a point, to convey a meaning instead of facts, and see what truth they hold for us today. That's what metaphysical interpretation is about. Today I'm teaching about the power of these words, "I am." I believe, and as our Unity founders did, that this little story from the Bible is one of the most consequential experiences, regardless of whether there was a bush on fire or not, a spiritual experience of a person that got put in writing. That there was an experience of I am who I am. I am has sent me. When we say that I am, we know that we're talking about us. But what he was talking about was the God within, not the I am that ran away. So, you know, Moses had lost everything. In fact, he had been a man of means and power. He had been living in the Pharaoh's palace, highly unusual for an Israelite in the Egyptian world. But he made a mistake when he became enraged when one of the Egyptian guards, one of the Pharaoh's men, struck a Hebrew. And so Moses turned around and killed him. Ashamed and afraid, he left the city, and alone in the wilderness, this spiritual experience happened for him. And of course, it wasn't described until generations after he was gone. And so, you know how stories grow, right? We're beginning a 6-week series about sacred gifts, about the sacred gifts about who I am, who we are. Now, here, this is intended to shift our focus as a community from service as a job that we do because we love Unity of Olympia to, I want to use the words here, a spiritual practice. Now, I was asked about this language recently, and I really appreciated the question because I did not hear how that's coming across. I understand that that might come across a little judgmental, as if the service that you're providing right now is not necessarily up to par. And for those who have heard that, please accept my apology. I'm willing to learn and grow and know that my intention isn't always met the way that I want it to be met. I don't want it to make anybody wrong. What I want to do is invite us to consciously, in every single thing that we do that is being of service to Unity of Olympia and outside of Unity of Olympia, to consciously invoke an awareness that that service is being expressed from our highest self. That it is a spiritual experience to give of ourselves, of the I am within us. To know that in the actions, to talk about it out loud with the people that we are participating in service with. Do you see how that might shift your experience of that service? Okay, just nod or shake. Go ahead, nod or shake. If you like that, okay. People are nodding, good. Just want to make sure we're on board here. So this series is about shifting consciousness. This 6-week series we're starting is shifting consciousness from what am I being called to give, or how do I give, to who am I called to be, and where do I give it from? We are called to be awake to the presence of God, to that burning bush, in everything we do. This series introduces a practice that we can use in service to your spiritual life, as you're being of service to those around you, because your gifts are the gifts of God. They're already within each and every one of us. Mine is being loud and noisy and talking a lot. I mean, this is, people are way happier with me here than they were in the office setting, one amongst 6 or 7 others who were supposed to be keeping their voices down. Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to say, I am gifted. Oh, you guys are good. That's fabulous. Our theme this year, it comes from Eric Butterworth's book. The theme is living in the flow of life. And basically, it's about living from the inside out, right? That we turn within to know what our gifts are, and then we live that out into the world. All we need is already inside of us. And if there is a desire for something, no matter what the thing is, more love, relationships that are at ease, or I don't know, a boat or a car. It doesn't matter. If there is a deep desire within, you can consider it a knock on your heart, like the voice of God saying, you're being called. You're being called to investigate this. Now, lucky for you, you don't have to go to Egypt and take people out of captivity. Right? Derek Rydell, the author of The Abundance Project, says, the truth is that we cannot wait until some condition out there changes. Right? There's this idea that, whatever it is that I want that I don't have right this minute, it's a frequent idea. It comes from our cultural norms that either I don't deserve it, I can't have it, or something out here in the world has to change, or somebody, in order for me to get this desire of my heart fulfilled. And that is a cultural norm. It's okay. Derek Rydell says the truth is that now is the only time that you can do or become anything. That desire is literally a thing in itself, a divine idea, the next stage of your evolution seeking to be born in you. Oh! Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Derek's got good words. Mary O'Malley calls this cultural lie a spell and says that we are spellbound. She says, this spell is like one cell in your heart deciding that it has to beat and regulate the whole heart. This idea that there's something blocking us, right? It's like one little idea that thinks that it could keep us from being who we've come here to be. I don't know about you all, but that feels very freeing to me. Because then I can once again get back into the flow of life. Yeah, I had that idea. Yeah, that idea shows up. Yeah, it seems to want to block my way. But guess what? I am loud and have lots of words.
And wise.
And wise.
Wise words.
What? Okay. Being in the flow of life is like just relaxing, right? That the experience of life, whether we call it good or bad or pretty or ugly, that is just an experience of life, and we're invited just to be with it. Once we can be fully engaged in who we've come here to be, then we can be present to it in a way that allows us to be free and to live in joy. Mary O'Malley says, what's in charge of life is the intelligence that has been orchestrating the dance of life for billions of years and that regulates hormones and beats hearts. Oh. Some people have really pretty words. So there's this idea that we should be in charge of life. And then things go sideways. And then we think we're doing it wrong. But peace and joy, the peace and joy that we seek, they don't come from getting the outside things right. It comes from opening within to see what is seeking emergence out into the world. It's not about changing. It's about recognizing the hidden splendor within us. All right, you ready for a laugh? All right. So this church is holding a donation drive for a new roof. We don't have to do that. The pastor is giving a speech about the importance of donating and explains that donating is not about money, even though he wants your money. It's about the principle. I know times are tough right now, but there are other ways that you can contribute. Well, George has been thinking about this and listening to this during the entire service, and after service he goes up to the pastor and he says, well, you said there's other ways that we can contribute, and things are tight right now, so will you give me a little more information about what other ways I can contribute? The pastor smiles and says, well, that's easy. I know you like to go fishing on weekends, and during the football season, you like to watch the games on Sundays. Maybe during the weekends, you could skip fishing and work on the roof here instead. During football season, you could skip a few games. George looks thoughtful for a moment and says, "Do you accept checks?" There's nothing wrong with the what or how. What to give, how to give. There's nothing wrong with that. I wonder what would have happened if instead he'd asked, what is that divinity, that holiness within me calling me to give? And maybe it still would have been a check. Or maybe it would have been time. Maybe it would have been both. Maybe it would have been neither. We don't know anything about George. But being able to be in that question, staying in that question, what is the very highest and best in me calling me to be in response to this situation? Again, the peace and joy that we seek, it doesn't come from controlling outside situations or conditions. It comes from opening to that which is seeking emergence from within. It's not about changing. It's about recognizing that I am already. So the Spiritual Gifts program, Exploring Spiritual Gifts, where joy meets need, is about consciously connecting to spiritual development through sacred service. That way we're honoring our own spiritual evolution as individuals and as community. Now, I don't know what making this shift as community will do, but I am pretty sure that it will mean something different than what we have now. And if we as individuals and as a group are willing to evolve into that consciousness, what might that attract? What could we serve? Who could we serve? You know, Reverend Jane Simmons, the author of this particular curriculum, says we do this by discerning our individual gifts, our inner passions and qualities, and connecting with that which brings us alive, and then connecting that to the needs of the world. We call this integral sacred service because it's about being the change in all four quadrants, and I'll talk about this more as we go on, all four quadrants of the aspects of transformation. We wake up to that I am within. We grow up, we clean up and show up. Today's about the first one, waking up again. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but those of you who are my age or older, does it seem like your gifts sort of change over the years? We wake up again to the gifts that are already within us, waiting for expression. It's about owning our power. It's about living into the potentiality that is as yet unknown. I am gifted. Together?
I am gifted.
Okay, so here's your mission should you choose to accept it. You could come and join one of the spirit groups, right? Well, there's four groups. And in my group, I think I have a room for a few more. And if you don't join a spirit group, this is what I want to ask you to do. Check in and say, what's my spiritual gift? Right? Is it patience? Is it kindness? Is it seeing the good in others? Is it empathy? Whatever your spiritual gift is. And be on the lookout for it when this week, right? Just in the morning say, okay, I am, and then look out for how it shows up throughout the day. and know that that is the I am who I am within you. That is the essence of God living through you. I wrote, catch the emergence of the divine within you. In closing, I want to read from Marianne Williamson because this classic poem says it all in so many fewer words than I said it. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure about you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously or consciously, my words, give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I am gifted. Together?
I am gifted.
And I love you.